What do I think about when I'm cutting hair? I think after all these years, probably not the haircut. Probably the wrong thing to say on camera, but probably not the haircut. Can you remember when you first started coming in?
I can't remember when I last came in, when I first came in. We moved to Leytonstone in 1973. We got to meet a neighbour, Bert Taylor, who lived at number 26. And I said to him, Bert, where's a decent barber? Because there's nothing worse than when you move house, you've got to find a new hairdresser, haven't you, a new barber.
My first memories of this shop were probably going shopping with me mum. Mum, shopping trolley, two sisters, and we'd walk up the high road, we'd stand outside the shop, mum would come into the shop and dad would give us some money for the shopping. We'd go up to Sainsbury's, do our shopping and walk back. I think at that young age, I probably only ever got my hair cut here at the shop maybe once or twice because dad was always too busy. We always got our haircuts at home. This is a picture of the corner before it was the shop, probably the oldest photograph that we've got. I had one chap, he was a boy when it was a shop and he knew the people and he used to help out. And he asked if he could see in the back room. And as soon as I turned the light on and he went in the back room, it was like he was transported back in time. He remembered it so well, you know. The only one that I've purchased myself was the 1981 Cup final win, Ozzy Ardiles and Ricky Villa, the Argentinians. I did sit at the dinner table many, many years ago, and I did say there's two things I wouldn't want to see in my family. And one was an Arsenal fan and the other one was a vegetarian, and we've got both. People say, you can't let your grandson be a gooner. I said, there's nothing your grandson can do for you not to love him. Would you like to take a seat, young man? So what are we doing today?
I just want my hair shorter.
Well, that's a given, isn't it, really? You're only here because you've been told to be here, haven't you? If it was your choice, you wouldn't be here, would you? Probably not, I know. Certain things in life we have to just do, don't we? If I go back to before my time, probably 1961, back in Larnaca in Cyprus, my dad tells me the story that he came home and his dad, my granddad, informed him that we're moving to England. He says that, well, but there's a girl, Dad. I said, well, who is she? You know, they met up, they got married, and then before you know it, they were on a boat, my mum and my dad, my three aunties and my grandparents coming to England. And then eventually my granddad bought the first house here in Leytonstone, which is in Norlington Road. And so we were living in one bedroom, my parents, myself and my two sisters, up until I was 9 years old. In 1967 was when Dad opened the business. They found this empty shop. My granddad fitted it out, and I suppose the rest is history.
Everybody I know comes here. So my dad comes here. My husband, when he moved down to London, he come here. So when it was time for Kit's first haircut, there was no question of where he was going to go. So he come to Costa, and for the first 10, 12 haircuts, he screamed and cried some more. And then now he's very cool and likes coming to see Costa. So it's kind of, we're over that hill of screaming and crying about haircuts.
Yeah, but the thing is I still think it's down to you. You're not the atypical parent that, you know, what does Kitty want for a haircut? He's going to get what he's told to get. Giving them choices at 4 years old. First decision I ever made was when I left home.
What do you think? You like it? Yeah, very handsome.
Come in. There you go. There we go.
Thanks very much. Cheers for that.
See ya.
Bye.
Ta-da. The first time somebody gives you the opportunity to cut their hair, a regular customer that's been coming to the shop for years, Dad or Nick was cutting their hair, and they'd say, Mario, he's all right, isn't he? I said, yeah, he'd do it for you. And he'd sit down and do it. And that's a good feeling when people trust you for that first time. I still get a great feeling when you cut someone's hair for the first time and then a month later they walk in again because you've done your job. Yeah. Can you remember how long you've been coming here, Barry?
Go on, Bennett. Well, how long's Dad been gone?
Dad's been gone 2010.
Well, I was coming in here before that because he used to cut your hair proper, see?
Oh, okay, yeah, that was the thing, wasn't it? Yeah. Yeah, I know. I must apologise if standards have dropped, but there's not a lot I can do about that.
No, I don't know how many years I was coming here. Well, Dad was still in here. Yeah. Been here a long time, anyway. I used to have proper hair then. I seem to have grown through it a little bit.
What do you mean, sort of proper hair? Yeah, it's still proper hair, isn't it?
Not so much of it.
This here comb, we use it for creasing the parting with the hairdryer back in the day. And Dad gave me this when I first started. So realistically, he had it. So it's close to 60 years old, this comb. And I'd be mortified if I lost it, to be honest with you. Jonathan, isn't it?
Yeah.
What, 10 years he's been around here?
Yeah.
Probably about 10 years. His son was coming here. We do his grandson as well. And now granddad turned up. So, you know. So we're verified 3 generations. He's a professional grandparent, just like I am.
Well, our son settled in Leytonstone and loves Leytonstone. So we just gravitated to this area just to be close to them, really. So the plus is we have a great barber thrown in. How about that? I think that was one of the eye-opening things for my wife and I moving from California was all of the kind of day-to-day connection that you have with community, with, you know, networks of friends and shops and all of that. When you're living in the middle of that, you really just take it for granted. What's the longest customer you've had?
Oh no, I've got customers from 56 years ago. I think I'm trying to think how old John is. He's mid 60. I think he's 65, 66 years old, and he's been coming here since I think it was 11 or 12 when he's been coming here.
That's great.
You know, so.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of, obviously, people pass away. It's. I think that's been the saddest part of it is when you do lose old customers, and you know, it's one of those things that people don't think, you know, that they've got a relationship at the barber shop. You know, do they know where their dad or granddad gets his hair cut, you know?
Yeah.
And I'd like to know when that time comes, but...
Yeah. Well, I think a big difference in just communities in London and then where we lived in the US is that there's not that kind of personal connection in terms of shops and services. You know, you might have somebody that you use regularly to come clean your windows or something, but people do their shopping differently. They do their kind of lifestyle differently, so you don't get to know the person that sells your cabbage and your veggies and all of that. So I like that. I like that kind of. Even though we're in a city, it's a bit like it's a small community too.
The comments I get constantly on how it makes you feel good getting a haircut. You know, coming in and getting freshened up and walking out and feeling good about yourself. You know, I think the barbershop is therapy. And the first time I found out how high the suicide rate was amongst men, young men, I found it really uncomfortable because when I'm here at work, I build relationships with people, and you see people regularly, and they're in your shop every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every 4 weeks. And I've had so many customers over the years, and talking about them now, you know, 2 or 3 of them have popped into my head that all of a sudden just disappear. And you think to yourself, have they just moved on, or has something really horrible happened to these people? And you never find out. So there's some problems I have with the job. You know, just relationships that you've made, and you feel that, you know, was you worthy of them coming to say, we're moving away, or, you know, we're moving house, or I don't know. And then on the other hand, I've had people walk in, elderly people that have walked in, they opened the door and they said, you thought I was dead, didn't you? I said, yeah, probably. My dad brought up a family, he paid his mortgage, he managed to retire and go back to Cyprus off walking around that chair. You know, I've managed to bring up a family, I haven't paid off my mortgage yet, you know, 2 daughters, 4 grandchildren, off of walking around this chair. So how bad can it actually be?
Yeah, no problem.
You know, they're the kind of things you kind of want to look at, I think. And we have gone from some very old customers to, and I have referenced the skin fade a few times in the filming, and like, you know, it was a new skill I had to learn. It was teaching an old dog new tricks, and it's probably quite nice finishing up on you, because, you know, you are a new customer. It's probably the 3rd, maybe, or 4th, 3rd haircut that I've given you, and we're finishing off on a skin fade, which is, I don't know, quite apt in a way.
Yeah.
You know, gone from the older to the new and the modern. It's and still adapting and still getting on with it, you know.
Yeah, lovely, mate.
Okay,
Thank you
cool.
very much.
You're welcome. Pleasure. What would I miss about cutting hair when retirement comes? I think it's the social side. Won't miss the work, the physicality of it, the daily grind, the up and down the motorway, the social life. I will, Lisa's always said, I can get home from work and she talks to me and I don't necessarily answer, and she came to the conclusion, she said, stop answering me in your head. I kind of do answer her, but I'm not doing it verbally, because I think I spend so much time listening and talking. Once I leave the shop, I kind of don't want to do it anymore. But yeah, I think the social life, it's got to be.